Welcome into episode 349 of Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the knocking clubs out of playoff contention edition. FC Cincinnati go down to Miami and get a little redemption for that Open Cup match. It was the tale of two halves, though, and we have a lot to break down as FC Cincinnati heads into a small break with some international duty sprinkled in. But the cool thing is we get to sit around and watch the rest of the league go head-to-head and figure out where everybody will finish in place. What are you looking for, though, out of FC Cincinnati since they've wrapped up the Supporter Shield? I think I've seen some want to see the club rest and get ready for the playoffs. Others are looking for that definite win, still one that will put their hearts at ease as FCC flows into the postseason. We get our team's thoughts tonight, but FC Cincinnati still have that last match versus Atlanta. Can't forget about that. I think it's easy to look ahead. Buckle up, enjoy the show as we introduce the CST cast. First up, we welcome back in the ever-relaxed Jason Ashcraft. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I hope you gentlemen are doing well on this nice, crisp fall evening. It's my favorite time of year, fall. It's for a chubby boy like me. You sweat through the summer, and you get to fall, and the sun is out, but you're comfortable outdoors. It's just wonderful.
It snuck up on me. I was not ready.
Oh, I love it.
You can't. So I had this conversation with some friends this weekend. They're like, "Oh, I love the fall, and then I love shoveling snow," and I'm 100% like, you cannot replace sitting at the pool with a 6-pack in your hand in 90-degree weather in the sun. There's just no topping that. No way.
For someone of your complexion, I would imagine you would want to avoid the sun at all costs.
You know, they came out with a new formula called SPF 100, and it works mighty well.
You just go out looking like you used a paint roller on your face. Is that how it works?
It was revolutionary when you used to put that stuff that was like purple, and then when it dried, it's wonderful.
He says that, but I've seen Brian pretty red before.
That might have been from the booze, not the sun.
A couple soccer games sometimes will catch you off guard, especially in the spring, and you're not quite thinking it's going to burn you. And then,
sure.
There you go. Yeah, no, Jason, I know what you mean. Although lately I figured out I'm kind of basic because I'm starting to crave like apple cinnamon stuff, and I'm like, what's happening to me?
I will go on record as saying apple, cinnamon, apple, anything greater than pumpkin spice. And I love pumpkin pie, but when it comes to fall, y'all keep your pumpkin spice. I want apple stuff.
You know what, Jason? I think your Lord and Savior Ryan Reynolds would disagree and say have a Negroni.
A Negroni.
Yeah, I had apple cinnamon pancakes on Saturday, and it changed my life. I'm a different man. I'm a different podcaster, really. All right, let's get Brian Weigel. You've already heard him. He's back. He's been sick for a couple weeks. How's your voice doing, buddy?
I'm still getting there. It's wild. What happens when you have 3 kids? Just something hits you every day. So no, it's good. It's kind of sad. You know, I have 3 more trainings left with my soccer team, 2 more weekends of play, and things are winding down. It's kind of making me sad, but I did sign the kids up for indoor, so we'll at least keep that train rolling. But yeah, it's fun. It's just weird time of year, and coaches are getting fired left and right in MLS, and we're still plugging along. So it's kind of weird here, guys. I kind of like this.
Yeah. Feels relaxed tonight, right? You got the chats flowing. Everybody's throwing down apple. Kevin Michael saying you need to try maple bourbon pancakes. So it's a relaxed feel around here. When you're sitting in first place and you got nothing to lose and you just knocked freaking Messi out of the playoffs, like you can sit around and you can talk about apple pancakes because it's just that kind of life we're living. And of course we have the time off. Real quick, though, before we dive into our show, I want to give a shout out to our amazing, always year-long sponsor, Apollo Home. They are happy about FC Cincinnati's winning. So they launched a 144-month zero-interest plan on many of their brand new HVAC systems. Incredible deal. So you can imagine there's a little bit of fine print and whatnot to be a qualified buyer. But to summarize, it requires a good credit score, and there are some restrictions on the equipment. But if you meet those standards, consider replacing your HVAC system. And now's a great time to give Apollo a call and schedule a free in-home visit before it gets too freaking cold. 0% interest for 12 years on a brand new HVAC system. Shout out to them for sticking with us and supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk all freaking year. segment 1, best and worst. We are going to throw it to Mr. Brian Weigel to kick us off.
You saw me tweet about it this weekend, but it had an extra special kind of bittersweet moment watching that whole match on Saturday with my oldest son, Brian. He's still 8. Just watching us play Messi and winning and how we won. And I think the cherry on top was Yuya Kubo. My son says it was an assist, but it was just a blocked shot, but it kind of sealed the deal for him that Yuya Kubo kind of contributed on the goal there. That's Brian's favorite player. And, just sending Miami packing. They were kind of anointed a little bit there, and everybody's like, oh, Messi's going to come on and turn the page, and it just didn't happen. A lot of you guys were like, oh, suck it, script writers. So that was pretty cool to see for FC Cincinnati, especially coming off such a, interesting result on Wednesday night, which I kind of think would be my worst of the week. Was going into that match, I said on Twitter that it was almost near meaningless, which it kind of was. Red Bull's winning probably, actually kind of helps in the grand scheme of things in terms of, if Miami not getting in the playoffs, so it's just irrelevant now. But you could tell with the substitution patterns and everything, it just wasn't a normal night. And then on top of that, when we start to get into the match, just the shambolic refereeing that was by Chris Penso, I think. I've never seen, I've seen bad calls and no calls and things like that are very frustrating, but just how blatant that his calls were just wrong. They were just wrong calls. I mean, the Apple TV guys are like, God, that guy is just, what is he seeing? And you just don't normally have that sheer, craziness of this guy's on crack or something. I mean, it's just wild. So, that was my worst, because it just didn't allow us to get back into the game. No matter what we did, he would slow us down. Don Baji makes a great play, gets taken out, and it's a foul against him. So it's just weird overall.
Well, you also had there at the end of the game, and I think what set Barrial off, where he gave Chris Penso that thumbs up, he got elbowed right in the face, and the call went against Alvaro, which made no sense whatsoever. I mean, you mentioned it. I mean, Chris Penso, he was given a bad grade last year and was taken off of some MLS games. Why is he back?
Dude, I'm
all for second chances. Lord knows I've needed some, but come on. He apparently didn't learn nothing.
It was,
I don't know.
Shambolic.
I don't know if you guys saw it from where you were sitting, but after the game, Barrial went back to him twice, and the referee had the red card in his hand. The Barrial very, very closely. Luckily, Lucho and somebody else got the referee away, dragged him away before he could raise it. But the red card was out, and it was about to be flashed. So it could have been even worse, honestly, especially considering what happened in the next game, right? Best and worst, Jason, we'll get to you, and then we're gonna throw it to chat. Chat's going off crazy. So,
well, speaking of chat, I'm gonna agree with Jose's. In the same week, we raised the shield and eliminated Miami from the playoffs. So, yes, the Red Bull game, it sucks we lost, but the fact that in 1 week we get to see our team hold up a trophy. I mean, we've talked about it to death, what it means after the years of just, there it is, of just shambolic, to use Brian's words, performances the first 3 years, to turn around and have one of the better seasons in MLS history, one of only a few teams that have ever gotten 20 wins in a season. So that was really special to see that. And the worst, one of the things that we've talked about all season has been when Lucho's not in, or when this team is not playing its top 11, you can really tell a difference. And I think we saw that these past 2 games. There was a lot of, we're going to talk about it, but there was a lot of miscommunication on Wednesday. There was a lot of miscommunication against Miami. mainly because Miami was throwing the kitchen sink at everybody. But it was not pretty soccer, the soccer that we know this team is capable of playing. So we got one more regular season game. I'm sure we're going to see rotation in the lineup again. Let's get all these bugs out before the playoffs and let the B team get some time, because we're going to need that A team ready to go for the playoffs.
We got no B team. We got 2 A teams, Jason. Come on now. Support the Shield, baby.
It is a different team when Lucho's out or when you don't have that top 2 striker combo. It is.
I was just going to say, without Bupenza Vasquez, you can kind of get past Lucho if you have Bupenza Vasquez, but when it's Santos or Baji,
little rough.
It is crazy, the drop. We've seen it now in 2 games, the difference there. All right, let's throw it to everybody who's given me best and worst. Joseph, his best, first to beat Messi in Major League Soccer with another Argentinian. 2 Argentinians, and great call out. Kevin, Miami redemption. Worst nonstop coverage of Messi sitting on the bench.
They
could have won one more time.
Kevin, brilliant call out.
Guys, he's still sitting on the bench. He's scratching his nose.
Jumping in here, I just wonder if that was we were joking with the people I was watching with that was a contractual thing, that everyone else was up undercover during the rain and he's standing there with a half smile on his face just because he has to be in front of the camera.
Mm. Did you hear the crowd when he just started to warm up? I was like, have you ever heard the entire stadium cheer for a guy warming up before? Never quite seen that one. Clifford, has to be Barrial as his best. The composure to roll that ball in. Worst, need or less reliance on the post. Yeah, that's actually in my best or worst as well, Clifford.
Goalpost is man of the match in the first half.
It was. Rupesh also give the call out best, the crossbars. Worst, the brats at Grainworks, who are openly rooting for Messi and booing Lucho. Yeah, you get that. You get that all around the league now if you play.
The brats or brats?
I read that as brats too.
Me
and
too.
I thought, what are little sausages doing booing?
It's like, I love brats. I've never had a bad brat. Even the German ones.
I've been to Grainworks. The brats don't talk, I don't think. At least, unless you drink a lot. Jose Best raised the shield and eliminated Miami, going for both games there. Worst, when are we going to string 2 strong games in a row for the full 90 minutes? Hopefully the playoffs, because we kind of have to if we're going to perform there, Jose. Honorable mention to the ref from Wednesday, as we've talked. I think Joseph here, lack of passing, scoring, communication from a team that wants an MLS Cup. Jay, hearing Obi be recognized by the announcers for his stellar year. Yeah, he seems like he slips under the radar. Then he finally has a game where he gets this credit. Worst, having to complain about the ref again. Get it together, MLS. We deserve better. Ooh, Ken Hedger shout out. I like it. Thanks for all of those guys. If you roll them in here, I will. Brian, you just got in here, and I'm not sure if you had time to come up with a best or worst, but if you do, throw it in here. If not, I'll go.
Yeah, sure. I'll jump in. My best is on a personal note. I was in Cincinnati with family watching the game, and so I normally sit in my living room by myself, yelling and screaming at the television. And so being with family who was all into the game was awesome. That was my best of the week. The worst of the week, I think you guys mentioned earlier, I kind of jumped in late on the conversation, was the missed handball call in the box. It looked extremely obvious from where I was sitting watching on the TV screen, and the very dramatic way in which it was waved off, that it was no handball, no good. But so I was pleased that got called back. But yeah, that was a rough one. So I don't need to talk more about that. I think you guys covered that earlier.
Yeah. My best, never feeling out of a match. I think even when we were down, it's starting to get to that point when we're down. I actually am not like giving up on this team. We've seen enough comebacks now, and I think the people doing the Miami game was Taylor Twellman had a one good stat, which was that we are one of the best second half teams in Major League Soccer, and it shows. It shows even with like the hope. Like you see a team score on FC Cincinnati in the first half, and you're like, okay, not good, but we can still do this, and that is a good feeling, and that's definitely my best. Worst, needing the posts and the crossbar and everything to bail us out in that first half versus Miami. That game could have gone a lot different. This could be a sad podcast, but luckily we had 2 goalies, and I appreciate them both. So shout out to the goalpost, as some of you have already mentioned. All right, that's the best and worst, and we want to dive in a little bit into these matches. We have Red Bulls, we have Miami. I think that the Red Bulls game was probably the most disappointing. However, there was rotation. It didn't seem like we came out of the gate. Shield spoiler ceremony, that was kind of the biggest bum out. Like, we're supposed to have this party. We're supposed to have the shield being raised, and everything's supposed to go good. A win would be nice. Destroy Frankie Amaya because he's coming back. Red Bulls are not that good. The stage is set, and then referee problems, and we kind of. Did you think we went out too light, Brian? Was the roster too light?
No, I 100% agree with what Pat Noonan did, but it was, well against his norm. Traditionally, he might sub out 3 guys, and I think we had like 7 changes or 8 changes over the weekend. And depending on if you count Murphy as a starter or Hagelin as a starter, I mean, there's substantial changes there. So it's well outside the norms. But we need guys to play. Like, we need Angulo to play. We really need Gaddis and Powell to get some legs, because you're going to need them over the next month and a half. So it's good to see those guys play. And New York play a very difficult style. You want your best ball handlers to play against New York, and we clearly did not have that in there. And when you see the starting 11, you're like, okay, yeah, this could be a problem. Like, we really need Angulo to hold the ball and shuttle it. He did not play well at all. And then it kind of relies on either hoof it long or Obi, and Obi's put under a bunch of pressure. So yeah, it's just very difficult, of course, with all the weird subs and everything like that, but well outside of a traditional Pat Noonan style of squad rotation.
It seemed like, Jason, for me, sitting there watching it in person, the movement, they did not know how to escape that Red Bull press. And I don't know if it's the inexperience or what are your thoughts?
I think it was the inexperience. Someone in the chat mentioned Kevin. I think it was 6 starters, regular starters, were absent from that match. So you're asking a lot of guys who don't play with each other consistently, and I think that's one of the things, like I was getting to earlier, is we have an A team and an A- team.
Yeah, you better say that.
A.1 team, whatever.
Yuya Kubo would start on almost every other team.
Yeah, he would, but Yuya Kubo doesn't play, I think, enough minutes with
in the same position every game.
Yeah, or with Angulo to know exactly what Angulo is going to do. Angulo isn't going to know what Alvis Powell's going to do. I mean, we didn't have Arias or Barrial or Lucho or those guys in the midfield and in the back. That really takes away a lot of the communication. That's the heart and soul of the team. So yeah, I think it was just lack of communication, lack of the fact that they don't play together at game speed a lot, which, I mean, they're substitutes. What are you going to do?
I thought we were going to see more booing of Frankie, but he kind of shut us up, didn't he? Like,
he almost shut us up right at the bat too, man.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate.
Okay, still, screw Frankie. Like, let's stop being nice. Like, the dude wanted to get away from us. There's no forgetting that. Stop being nice. Oh, he didn't celebrate against us. Screw him. Come on, be mean. Be mean.
He stole my next thought because I wanted to know if you forgive him for not celebrating.
Dude, the guy's like, holy crap, that went in? Come on now, y'all.
No.
Do you blame? So Rupesh says, do you blame him? Yes, there was a lot going on there. But, I mean, look at everything. The guy was given the keys to the castle. I know there's little to no trust there, but come on, man. You're barely better than rookie. And you cannot say being with Red Bulls has helped his career more than being with FC Cincinnati.
No, I think
he got called ups with FC Cincinnati.
It worked out. We got $1 million. and he's languished in unfortunately a New York team. The bummer for me, being in his shoes as a player, would be that no one comes out to watch them except for maybe like the tail end of the year. So it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it'd be getting like the life sucked out of me being up there in New York.
I mean, it's not really a hot take, but my hot take is that there are 2 MLS clubs in major markets that could do with a maybe go on hiatus or get sold to somebody and rebrand, and one of them is the New York Red Bulls,
and the other is the New England Revolution, right?
The other one is the Chicago Fire. But
three then, totally 3.
I mean, if I were a billionaire, I would buy them. I would also buy the rights to the Cosmos name and rebrand them as the Cosmos, just because I'm petty like that.
We're kicking Jason off the show. We're kicking Jason off the show.
I'm petty enough to do something like that. If I ever got billions of dollars, I would be.
That's funny. Jason, I didn't think it was possible for a long time. And then we watched LAFC go into a market that, some people thought was irrelevant and then turn it around.
LA is irrelevant?
LA Galaxy have been relevant for years.
The Galaxy were getting
selling
stale.
out game. They've had attendance issues after LAFC.
Yeah. The Galaxy, I think, is a little different. I mean, I was living out west, so I got to see a lot of Galaxy in my day. But
yeah,
I know I don't want to take us off track, but whatever. We've got time to film.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. But I think one of the things with New York Red Bulls, when New York City gets this stadium built in Queens, literally across the street from Citi Field, that's going to be a game changer. And they're going to be in a world of hurt if they're not careful. I know that Red Bull has looked at selling them. And it kind of sucks too. You look at that team and they had like Thierry Henry and Bradley Wright Phillips, and they used to be a team that was consistently competing for Supporter Shield. And they've kind of gone to like, let's play the kids, and it's gotten them in the playoffs, but they're kind of a shell of what they used to be even like 5 or 6 years ago. So they're still annoying as hell to play. I hate watching them play, but it kind of, for an MLS original, it kind of sucks to see what's happened a little bit to them.
All right, we'll turn the page. We'll flip it to Miami. I think that's what's more recent in everybody's memory. The screw you ref, just one last thing as we leave the Red Bull game behind. Miami, first team to beat Miami when Messi's playing, half a game anyway. I think the biggest key for me, Brian, was that that game changed. That game changed when Bupensa came on the pitch, I felt like.
That Brian, right?
Yeah. This one?
New Brian. Yeah, the one that popped in here late.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think things changed there, but I would argue his vision was really, there could have been a lot more, right? I think on the pitch, he missed Lucho once, he missed Barreal once. I think he brings a lot of energy for sure. But yeah, I think there could have been more there. I was excited though. Again, you mentioned we're the first team to beat Miami when Messi's on the pitch. That's great. I think we're the first ones to keep him from scoring in the first match too. In was it the Leagues Cup?
Yeah,
No, it was
US
the
Open Cup.
Open Cup. Yeah. So I think we match up well against them. I don't think our guys were afraid of them this time.
Yeah, I think the biggest pieces for me are do not foul anywhere in that final third, and we did, and we got lucky. I mean,
so I think number one wasn't a foul. I think he knows when to fall.
Yeah.
Right. But I was also pleased to see he wasn't striking that ball hard. I think that injury is still nagging him. That plant foot was not going in the ground hard. So those shots, man, we lucked out there. I think with that injury, he's still nursing.
I know Coach Andy Fleming was going to talk about it at some point, but like weaknesses for FCC and where we're susceptible to losing games, and it's conceding balls at the top of the 18 when average Joes aren't going to make that shot. But when you're starting to get to these special teams, when you get a Hani Mukhtar out there, or even some of the New York guys, Miami put a couple balls off the post. We give up some of these chances, and there's going to be guys that have enough quality to make those chances. And that's the only little bit that scares me. You saw it in both these matches this week. And, fortunately, Messi was not not in form. But yeah, it's something to look out for.
One of the things I noticed when he went for one of those free kicks at the top of the box, had he decided not to go for goal, he had 3 or 4 guys wide open. Had he decided just to lay it off for one of them, we could have been in big trouble right there. So I think we got lucky that he decided, hey, I'm the GOAT, so I'm going to take a shot at it.
As you should.
Yeah. I think
giving up those balls at the top of the box, though, Brian, I think the closer in they get within 20, 25 yards, that scares me. But some of the ones that we've had some bangers scored on us from 30 to 35 yards out that not many are going to hit that. Even the superstars aren't going to hit it often, but we are giving that space there, and that is a little scary.
Number 6 love punishing us. Martinez with Philly, Frankie Amaya. It's like, what the hell, man? But I mean, but good teams are going to do that. They really will. They're going to get chances. They're going to put them on frame. And if Roman can't hold on to the ball and he pushes it in the wrong direction, man, you better hope Miazga's in the right spot. And the one, again, another thing I'll kind of say, kind of going back to both these games, and I thought more so in the first half versus Miami and pretty much the entirety of the New York half, our guys look tired. They just look a little bit slow, except for Obi. Obi's just a machine, but it kind of gets me a little bit nervous. Hopefully we can give some guys some time off. Unfortunately, Arias and Moreno, who I think Moreno needed rest more than anybody else, but Mascara, they're going to be on international duty, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, maybe they won't, play 90 minutes plus.
Yeah, but they're still flying everywhere.
Yeah, I give you that. And I still think there's enough time there. I still think they'll be okay. At least I hope so anyway. Let's get back to that Miami game. I've seen some shout outs, Roop and Clifford, on Brandon Vasquez having a magical first touch all of a sudden. He brought down a ball like a Lucho would in this match. And man, if Brandon Vasquez can get going headed in the playoffs, then I don't know. What do you think, Jason? He's been doing drills with Lucho. Teach me your magic, guys.
He was putting stickum on his shoes or whatever got banned from the NFL. Yeah, I mean, he looked really good against Miami. It's a shame he wasn't able to get a goal to cap it all off, but I think that gets back to what I was saying. He and Lucho have a really good understanding of where each other is going to be. And it's a real shame too that, Santos wasn't able to help him out a little bit more either. So, but it's good to see. I mean, that's going to help his transfer value. That's going to help us as we get into the postseason if he can keep that touch going.
For every Brandon Vasquez great play, there was 2 Santos errors.
Hey, Santos had a really good first 10 minutes, and then nothing more like your head coach going, "Come on, Sergio."
Yeah, there was a hot mic near Noonan that game.
There was.
That was a stinker of a performance. I feel bad for the guy. If we didn't win the game, there would be a lot of Santos hate this week.
So here's the one thing I want to prepare everybody for. He's under contract for next year, and it's not an option. So be prepared to be upset. Hey,
he started the season strong, right? We've seen what he can do. He just is not doing it any longer. It's like he's too timid. He doesn't want to go at goal. He doesn't make the right passes. He's lost his control on the ball. Like,
he's 2021 He's 2021 Yuya Kubo. Come on now. You can see some talent there, but the execution's off.
Yeah,
so
right.
We hope that his glass house can last for more than 25 games next year.
Well, I mean, if anybody's going to get through the kid in an off season, I trust like Dom Kinner and Pat Noonan to get that job done. So I am actually not that down, Bri, about having him on contract next year. I don't think that's the end of the world.
Don Baji fan club right here.
But yeah, Santos just bad decisions all the way around. Really bad passes, shots that should have been better. There was a lot of frustration as a whole with the striker group. Brian, you said something earlier in chat when we were all talking about it, because fans tend to get worried when they see their number 9 and their number 10 and then their other strikers all bickering at each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we talked about it several weeks ago. Just the two of them couldn't link up. They couldn't get on the same page. They're getting frustrated with each other. Lucho's throwing his hands up on the field. Bupenza's screaming at him. He's yelling at Barriel. And then this time, as Lucho subs off in the 88th minute or whatever, you see Bupenza just screaming at him. The two of them just kind of going back and forth, and the commentators even saying, "Look at them; they're still bickering." Like as the camera cuts away, a minute later, they're still yelling at each other. And I got to take that back. I got to rewind a little bit, because I thought Bupenza followed him over, like in his ear the whole time. But I think Bupenza was on the sideline, either getting screamed at by Noonan or yelling at somebody else. So he was already there when Lucho came over, and I'm guessing Lucho said something to him. Because if you rewind that play 2 minutes to the 86th minute, Lucho's on the far side of the field with 35 yards of space in any direction, and Bupenza passes it to the other team, passes it right to a Miami back. And so I'm guessing Lucho started that fight, now that I go back and look at that. But still.
Yeah, that was a big one for him.
Yes. So I don't know. Competition is competition. Teammates fight and bicker all the time, but we're just seeing it so consistently between those two that it seems to not be getting better like we thought, 2 games ago, going into the playoffs. That concerns me a little bit. Doesn't scare me. It just concerns me a little bit about that chemistry and the constant bickering between those two.
Okay, I know I just said Don Baji fan club, but I'm, my twin brother hates Aaron Bupenza, and I'll fight for my boy. Outside of the taking a selfie when Lucho's raising the shield, which that's a whole nother topic. Hey, anybody want to see a picture of that? I can throw that up on the chat.
I don't even know. I didn't see that.
If you look at the picture of the supporter shield,
fine.
Look bottom left. Aaron Bupenza is taking a selfie of himself. Marco Angulo standing front and center. How about that guy?
Yeah,
he did a ton this year. God, I'm harsh.
You are. They're brutal.
No, I think Bupenza's great. Screw that. I want him shooting the ball. I mean, should he shoot the ball 45 yards out? Probably not. But we're paying him to score goals. I think he's taking our offense to another level. I think he can get there. At the end of the day, Acosta wants to get in the golden boot. I know he wants every chance, but Bupenza wants that too. And we're paying Bupenza to score the goals. I mean, Acosta's the number 10. We're paying him to set up the team, organize the team, getting guys in the right spots. So I'm tend to be inclined to settle for Bupenza a little bit more.
But did you see the space Lucho had?
Oh, no, I get that. Yeah, I 100% get that. I'm like, yeah.
I don't think he saw him. I don't think he picked his head up on that far play.
He didn't. If you watch, he's head down looking at the ball like you teach your kids in Little League soccer. Like, pick your head up, look around. He was on the ball the entire time.
You say like that it's a bad thing, but like the first 2 minutes in the second half when he got the ball, he threw the hardest shot all night at Drake Callender.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the guy's going to hit one of these things and he's going to be a hero. So I'm all for him because he's unpredictable. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We need guys like that to not settle us into a rut. And I get there's going to be times when Lucha's going to want that extra ball back in that he had from Brenner. Brenner was selfless at times, but he also would score hat tricks, glorious too. But, dude, I really, people are dogging Bupenza. I think he's going to be the guy that's going to win this MLS Cup with a freak goal.
I think people
calling a shot.
You mentioned Brian. You mentioned the announcers. Taylor Twellman said because the main announcer, I can't remember who was play-by-play, but he asked Taylor Twellman what he thought about it, and he's like, "I love it.
Yeah,
you get mad, you go in the locker room after it's over. It's all over. You leave it on the field." And I think part of it is too, guys get mad out there. You mess up every now and then. If you watched the Bengals game yesterday, there was a play where, and the Bengals were up, but where Burrow was trying to hand it off to the running back who completely missed the handoff. And Burrow got mad and was like, think, and had a few other choice words for the dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these
And
kind
he
of
walked
things,
off the field with his arm over his shoulder, by the way.
yeah. And these kind of things happen. And I think I mentioned in the chat too, is a cultural thing. Maybe, we're American culture. We aren't as boisterous sometimes.
We give
about
out
things.
participation trophies and.
I mean, the people who complain about participation trophies were the one giving out participation trophies.
I'm just calling us soft, is all I'm doing.
But no, like we're not that boisterous. You're kind of passive. In other countries, it's not necessarily like that. You talk much more animated, and
yeah. I think so. David Moore has a comment that Boop was opened at the spot a couple of times and nobody saw him, and I think that's part of this too. Is that Barrial wasn't even looking for him. Like there's a problem when you've got a guy in the middle, and maybe Barrial wants to shoot. Maybe he sees goal. He's in on frame. He's got a defender in front of him. If that's Brandon Vasquez or if that's Lucho, is he playing that ball off at the spot? I don't know.
It's going to be more though for Vasquez, because Vasquez has kind of switched over to that left-handed side. I agree. I mean, there's sometimes like there was a spot where Bupenza made a near post run and Lucho took a shot, and I think that's where they caught the camera with like "F you" or something like that.
Yes.
I mean, how many times this year have we seen Lucho like create some pass to somebody, to Brandon or anybody, that goes through the legs of like two guys or over some people and hooks in front of them by like 2 yards, and the guy can't get to it, and Lucho kind of throws his hands up and turns around like, he just watched his dog get run over. So I mean, the guy wears his heart on his sleeve out there. You're gonna have little dust ups every now and then.
Yeah,
they care. They care.
I love that. But
They show it and they care.
Yeah,
Brian, I agree with you though. I want Bupenza shooting the ball. There was one time where he did all the work. If you remember this, he did all the work.
Oh yeah,
the guy
right side
turned
of
the ball,
field.
and Kubo took it off his foot and took the shot.
I remember that.
I was not pleased with that one. Right, he needs to hit that. It's on his left foot, right where he wants it. Yeah. Let the guy unleash, and Kubo took it right off his foot.
Yeah,
the best defender for Miami. You had Kubo, so what you're telling me.
No, I also agree. I like the competitiveness. I think going to the playoffs, these guys are going to be fine. They know their teammates. They're good. I don't expect them to be throwing fits in the playoffs. I expect them to be, doing well, and they're competitive. They all want to score, and they all want to have that perfect pass shot into them. So I think we're all on the same page here.
You remember when who was it? Was it Santos that scored the goal in the first New York Red Bull in the playoffs, or did he set that up and we're all like crowning him? So things can change real quick.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw it to Justin Hoyt, who's
Justin's here.
Justin Hoyt, an awesome trooper, and he's recorded us a brand new Beyond Exercise ad. So we'll throw it to them, and then we will be right back.
Terrible joke.
Number 9, and they are now ready to roll out to the general public. So what is also good is they have a brand new facility. 6,500 square foot, and all you need to tell them is, don't forget, Justin Hoyt sent you, and the rest of the Cincinnati Soccer Talk sent you. Beyond can even help identify risk factors that lead to non-contact injuries. That's right, non-contact. This is very, very handy also, especially if you are balancing your youth, like I'm trying to, or retirement. Yes, I'm coming to the end. But like we say, make sure to check out the space, make sure to give them a call, make sure to keep listening. And now back to the regular show.
All right, thanks to Beyond Exercise. I'm still learning how to do this.
Could you say Justin was open for some voiceover work?
There you go. Oh yeah, I like that. That's good. I'll have to fix that in the edit show. Brian's having a field day back there. All right. So shout out to Beyond Exercise and Justin Hoyt for being a great trooper. You can get in touch with us at Cincinnati Soccer Talk or email us feedback at cincinnatissoccertalk.com. We love it when you send those over. We got an email this week from Marine de Marais, and we appreciate that. Well, guys, playoffs. Let's talk a little bit of playoffs. I think this is one of those fun things we can shoot down here. We are obviously Supporter Shield winner in first. I think we have Orlando, Philadelphia, Columbus, New England, Atlanta, Nashville, all in, and we are waiting to see who gets the 8 and the 9 play-in spot. And there's a whole bunch of teams that could get that. Who do you not want to see in the first round? Jason, we'll go with you first, sir.
Oh man, that one's tough. If the playoffs started today, because I've got this up right now, it would either be the Red Bulls or Montreal. I wouldn't want to see the Red Bulls just because I hate the way they play. They are so good at gumming up the game and making it a slog. And I could see them stealing a point at home. That first round is a best of 3. So stealing a point at TQL and then maybe getting 3 points at New York. I really don't want to see the Red Bulls, but I'm confident we could beat any of those teams that are fighting for that last spot.
Mm-hmm. Not on here, Charlotte at 12, but they have a really good chance of getting in here as well, with DC already being eliminated in a weird number 9 spot. Brian, let's go to you.
This Brian. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think New York Red Bulls is the one that I do not want to see. Obviously, I think we're more talented, but have we not beaten them at TQL still? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that? You might be right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we haven't beaten
what Kevin said
yet
in the chat. I believe him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I heard that on the broadcast the other night.
It feels
as well.
weird,
so
but I forgot we did lose a lot in those first 3 years.
It does. And so, yeah, I just think it's always a dogfight against them, and we've not figured it out yet on our home pitch. And so that scares me.
Okay, so we got 2 New Yorks, and we'll go Bry.
So I think Montreal is very interesting. I think they have some, them and Chicago are kind of similar. They have some pace up top, half decent midfield each. So I think both those are interesting matchups. I think we're reading into the New York issue a lot more than we should have. My issue with New York is the amount of fouls that we have. So if we get some sort of yellow card situation with Obi or somebody that we wouldn't see him in the first game in the next round, that's what worries me the most with New York. But actually, I think I'm going to say Chicago right now.
Yeah, Chicago came out on fire, just roasted Miami, and then got their butts kicked this week. So I'm not even sure what team Chicago
Here's the thing, though, is everybody in this group from 5 on down, hell, even Columbus on down, is wildly inconsistent. They're still good. They're better than a lot of the Western teams. The Eastern Conference is owning the West, but they have their highs and they have their lows. I mean, the only 3 teams that are consistently, I guess even Philly too, but they got a lot of matches on their legs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's as long as we can keep Columbus in the 4 seed. That's, to me, that is real. Or sorry, no, yeah. Hold on. Do we play? So we play that playing game, then we would play 4 or 5, right?
Right.
So I want Columbus versus Philly. Sorry, I want Columbus to go 3, Philly to go to 4. But I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting.
I think it is 8 and 9 play each other. Then there's a winner, and then we play best of 3 against whoever
that team. Yes,
the 8 or 9 winner. And just because there's some confusion in our chat here, we play the home game first, then an away game,
right?
And then if we drop one of those, we will come back home and play a third game at home. But that third game doesn't have to happen,
right? And it was mentioned in the chat too that there are no ties, so it's kind of the same setup as League's Cup. If it's
90 minutes,
90 minutes. If it's tied after that, you go to kicks. So
which I think is absolute BS.
What about after the first round? Does it switch to normal after the first round? Do we
Correct.
get
No, that's the first of 3, and then
okay?
if you go past to the conference semifinals, then it's single elimination, normal game setup.
Okay,
with
so
the 15-minute extra time periods and
Good.
penalty kicks.
good. Well, Brian, that's not too bad because at least you have 3 games. So,
I
no
mean,
need for this.
so you could literally win one match. You could win the first match, draw the next 2. In theory, would be 5 points, but then lose in penalties. That's absolute BS.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Absolute BS.
you got to play 3 games. Imagine if 2 to 3 of them go into extra time. Your guys are going to be dead before they even get to the semis.
But no, in the I can't talk today, guys. In your first round, you just play 90 minutes. You're not playing that extra time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
That's-
he's
yeah,
saying
right.
I'm saying that the rules of the PKs, like 92 PKs, is crap.
Yeah,
because
I agree. 100%. And
you could literally not lose a game and get eliminated.
right.
Mm-hmm.
You're 100% right. And that's why I would be afraid for New York. Not necessarily afraid, but I wouldn't want to see them because they're the type of team to pull that kind of BS and play for penalty kicks.
Right. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing, Jason. I agree with that. I've been watching the chat. Have you guys seen this? The question is, who do you not want to see in the first round? And they're saying Penso and Uncle. I don't care who you play.
Did you guys see? Ted Uncle got nominated for the
yeah.
The guy in Montreal, I think also the gentleman in Montreal match, the ref that I think he also got nominated too. He definitely deserves it.
What was the nomination for? I missed that.
Ref of the year.
Yeah, ref of the year.
Oh.
Uncle's up for ref of the year.
Oh.
Yeah, somehow.
Oh.
1 of 3.
Wild.
Hey, we all have a good year sometimes.
I mean, maybe it was just our game, right?
Jason's still waiting on
Did
it.
all the other games aside.
41, and I'm still waiting on it.
So I honestly think Charlotte makes it. I think they have a good chance. They play Miami twice. Miami has an insane international roster. They're talking like 7 players are going to be missing for those 2 games. They have nothing left to play for. They're beat up. According to some of their fans and podcast groups, they're going to be playing a good chunk of Inter Miami 2 players in these next 2 games. So I think Charlotte gets kind of a cakewalk if they could take advantage of it, and they'll be in the 8 or 9 spot. And then it'll be interesting to see if Chicago or Montreal can hold off the rising Red Bulls that have been doing pretty well the last couple of weeks. I also don't want to see the Red Bulls. No way, no how. Montreal, we always play
Exercise
really
the
weird.
demons, folks. Exercise the demons.
Yeah, they're just young enough to be a little bit unpredictable. But we saw what happened when we put in our full strength against New York. They crumbled. They crumbled against us in that second half. We just couldn't get the goals back. It was already too late when we put in Acosta and Barrial. But that game completely changed the moment Acosta came in.
I'm gonna have one caveat to my answer. What I don't want to see in the first round is the opposing team score first. Getting off script. That's what really scares me.
If you had asked me like 2 months ago, I would be 100% in the same boat. Now I'm like, we've given up the first goal and come back now. I'd rather not, but we won it.
Yeah, if it happens, I'm with you. It's not the end of the world, and especially if it's in this first round, because we can. If we're the team that catches back up on the road and takes it to PKs, I'm fine with that. I think our team's good at those, good enough at those to oust. It's not like we're playing Miami, which you need 12 perfect shots to get through PKs. So I think it'll be all right. Let's see here. You guys have a bunch. Jose wants to know what date FC Cincinnati would play its first game, or is that still going to be determined based on the final standings? Jason, you have that up?
Yeah. So wild card matches. So this is not us, but those wild card matches would be played October 25th and 26th. I want to say that's a Wednesday, maybe. Wednesday, Thursday.
That's right.
So then the round 1 matches. I can't tell you exactly when FC Cincinnati is going to play, Jose, but it would be the October the 28th through November 12th is that best of 3. So October 28th I would assume would be our first round game.
Yeah,
and that would be at TQL because it's home, away, home.
They're going to cram 3 games in there. Unfortunately, it's not going to be weekend games, really, is it? It's going to be.
It would be Saturday, Wednesday. I had my calendar up. It'd be Saturday, maybe Wednesday, Saturday, depending on it. Or no, it'd be Saturday, Saturday, Saturday. Yeah. Because that's a 3-week, October 28th through November 12th. That's a 3-week span. So.
What's the next game, though?
Oh, the next game, now that you ask, starts November 25th. So that's 10 days away.
Okay. Well,
so, yeah.
Possible, yeah.
It's going to be I am a staunch defender of playoffs. I love playoffs. I wish the EPL had playoffs. If we were a proper league, we would be celebrating a championship and have nothing to play for 3 weeks. But I really hate how MLS fitzes with the playoff every other year. And I'm not a fan of this format right now. If we win, I'll love it, but I really don't like how long they're stretching it out, and the fact that it's 3 games. If you're going to do multiple games, just do home and away. Like these two. It's crazy, man.
Well, if we go all the way to December and play in the MLS Cup, you won't even feel like you had an off season because it would go right into CCL and all that, right?
Exactly.
There is no off season anymore. Oh, man. I guess the only other news we have here is international call-ups these next 2 weeks. Sir Arias and Mosquera both getting the call-up to Colombia, so they'll be headed south for that, and Junior Moreno a call-up for Venezuela. And so, as Brian said, the travel takes a little bit of toll on you, but it's luckily 2 weeks off, and then it's not necessary that everybody play versus Atlanta, but it would be good to see FC Cincinnati get a playoff preview roll in there. I'm interested to see how Noonan handles that, guys. I'm not 100% sure if they're gonna go all out versus Atlanta or just try to do what they kind of did versus New York Red Bulls. We are winding down here. It is coming up on that 10 o'clock hour, so I think it's time. I think everybody's been awesome tonight. We've loved the comments. We've loved you helping us steer this show where you want it. Let's get the final thoughts of this crew, though, and we will throw it to my gray, teal, whatever color shirt that is, Brian. You can take off first.
I guess he's talking to me. I don't know.
My shirt's yellow, so
one of you looks gray on the video, the other looks blue. I don't know where teal came in.
It's like this is like royal blue. It's been a very heavy weekend, and I can't believe the world we live in sometimes. And with the fact that we're blessed enough that we could get to podcast about soccer blows my mind. Like I had a heavy moment tonight at practice, just that I get to hang out with these 10 awesome kids and their parents, and yeah, man, it's just all the crap going on in this world. We're blessed. So tonight, I was trying to find ways where I know there's always picking sides and things like that, but I learned that the International Red Cross is trying to provide armored ambulances for Israel as well as the Palestine occupied territories. So I'd encourage you that there's a lot of people out there that don't get to experience what we do. And even if it's $25, donate to the Red Cross to, maybe that changes somebody's life, and then they can express joy in their own way at points. So selfish plug, but yeah, try to find a way to make a difference in this world, whether it's with kids coaching soccer or donating. I think it's the British Red Cross that I gave to tonight. Look for ways to help out, and it's amazing how useless what we're doing tonight actually is, and how blessed we are to do this. So just make a difference if you can.
Thank you, Brian. And we'll throw it to Mr. Yellow Shirt.
Yeah, that's a hard one to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping on late tonight, I didn't have a whole lot of time I wasn't thinking I was coming on this evening, so didn't put much thought into a final thought. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I don't know that I want to follow what Brian shared. That was, I agree. We're blessed to be able to do this even last minute from a hotel room in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we appreciate you stopping in, by the way. It's always good, valuable content you add. Clifford Adams says your shirt makes him want meringue pie, by the way. So just wanted to throw that in here as the last
there
minute.
you go.
Jason.
Yeah, same as Brian. I don't have a huge social life, so it's always great to talk to you guys on Mondays when I get a chance to do that. Gives me a little distraction, and Brian's 100% right. The fact that we're talking about a sport, watching grown ass men run around and kick a ball and then complain about their performance, it means that we are blessed. And so, do what Brian said. Get some money, donate it to the Red Cross.
We won the supporter shield, and we're talking about bickering. I love
it. Jay asking if we can do a show during the upcoming break where we talk about viewer submitted questions, talking points. That would be cool. It would be cool, Jay. I think I'm going to give these guys Monday off next week, but that doesn't mean we can't try to fit something in elsewhere. It just we might not do it live or something, but we will get it. We will get it in. So just a heads up, there probably will not be a show next week. And that's my final thought. I have to get these guys ready for the playoffs, and some of that means a little bit of
Dude, I didn't realize that we could go for another 2 more months of this. That's wild.
Yeah,
I love it.
Normally you guys all get December off. That may not be true this year.
I talked to Brad about this today, and he's like, this past off season was kind of like the first off season we kind of had off. I said, well, Brad, you haven't been on all year, but
that's so true.
But it's like, this offseason, we're like, oh yeah, we might have some time to cool down. But it's like, no, we're going to replace a lot of players probably. So
I know I got a notification that one of our scouting subscriptions is coming up, and I was like, hey, you know what? Every year it's so expensive. I dread that bell. But I think that Coach and Nate will kill me if I get rid of it, because they're going to really be looking forward to whatever changes Noonan and
Do we get a discount now that Nate's in Armenia? Can we get the Armenian version of Y Scout versus the US version?
Maybe if we have them buy it from there, that might work.
It out.
Yeah.
At least we won't be starved for content in the off season.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
so there'll be plenty to talk about.
Yeah.
Real quick, another final thought. The guy doesn't get enough props, but Jacob Clary, who's been doing one hell of a job this year on all of our editing and even doing a lot of the tweeting during games and stuff that allows us to enjoy our time. A guy who's not front of camera, front of mind. Just give a shout out to this guy. Just really appreciate you, buddy, and all you do, and hopefully we can keep you around. So don't want to have to replace you, big guy. You're our DP, Jacob.
Yeah, there's a handful of people that really help CST run, and they're not on here, and they probably do more important work than the 4 of us yapping on here, honestly. So, a shout out to Jacob. He's really taken over all the editing and saved my butt as I've stepped up into a different work role. While we're on the topic of thanking people, Thomas Steph is our newest Patreon, and we want to give you a special shout out for supporting Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Thank you for coming on board, and if you're just jumping in for that Growler Cup, it's going to be really, really hard to catch up, but we do appreciate you. And we're going to keep that thing going as long as FC Cincinnati's playing. So I might be wrong about that. If there's like 5, 6 more games, then there is a shot. And then we want to, of course, thank all of our supporters: Red Lee, John Davidson, Mike Hudson, Laurel Failer, Matthew Adamczyk, Riley Stephen Burke, James Denbrough, Tom Newhouse, Brian Weigel, Brian Gills, Dan Alberts, Will Kychek, Ian Rexroad, Carl Fight, Christina Sharma, Kyle Pohl, Rupesh, Tom Beaversdorf, Jason, who is super average, John Haskell, Ryan Ernst, Mary Lou, Wes Anastasi, Rob Pierce, Clifford Adams, Pierce Johnson, Mike Perennis, David Wiederhold, Rob Gassell, Bradley Weigel, Kevin Day, Paul Hedger, Alex Carnegus, Dave Tingler, Patrick Lahani, Mike Bowman, Brett Sova, Kevin Cooney, Joe Max, Jack Emery, Sarah Gorman, David Moore, Bob Ryan, Ryan Durkin, Bart Labita, Rob Triple, Joe Laura, Bill Leopold, Marine de Moray, Jose, John Cafardi, Olympico, Joseph of Hanger 937, Jackson Fight, Justin Blair, Kyle Phillips, Ashley Newhouse, Dan Burns, Coach Clip, Justin Gregory, Scott Dalton, Jason Ashcraft, Jeffrey Tebbets, Troll, Jackson Fight, Matt Bauer, Peter Koch, and Mark Godsey. Thank you so much. You can, of course, support us at CincinnatiSoccerTalk./support or over on our Patreon page. Thank you, everybody, for staying and tuning in. Guys, chatting with us and keeping us active and moving. Appreciate all of you. We're going to head out, and we will see you again when FC Cincinnati is back kicking a ball if we don't see you sooner. Thanks for tuning in again.